Topic for the day is the legislative endeavors to curb drug abuse among school children. It is prepared under the context of the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act of 1985. Now let us see what was the history of the enactment. Why was this particular act enacted? As we all know, the law changes with change of time. As time progresses, new and new enactments are enacted. For example, in 2007, we had enacted the Senior Citizens Act. In 2005, the Domestic Violence Act. Similarly, at that period, 1985, there were no good law to curb the menace of drugs or to regulate the use of drugs and to make it punishable. Hence, the government felt it that a suitable law has to be there so as to have a proper system of curbing the use of narcotic drugs and psychotropic substances. Hence, this bill was passed by both the houses, and this act came into force in the year 1985. That is on 14/11/1985. What was the purpose behind the act? The purpose behind the act was to regulate, to control, and to punish those people who possess those narcotic drugs which were notified by the government. And I'm going to a main issue which is rampant as of now, because there are various instances of false implication as far as drug cases are concerned, because sort of situations are used by many other opposite group to falsely implicate persons who are in possession of narcotic drugs, because as such the punishment given for possession of commercial quantity is exorbitant. That is, minimum is 1 lakh rupees and up to 10 years. It can go up to 20 years of punishment. So there has to be proper detection and proper registration of crime so that the innocent should not be punished for no harm from their side. For example, the suggestions are that the interrogation, when the accused is being interrogated, that can be videographed, because under section 161 CRPC, as of now, we have unsigned statement of the witnesses. Now, when these witnesses who are there, for example, when the seizure is taken place, there has to be 2 witnesses. The statement of witnesses can be videographed as early as possible so that the possibility of false implication can be ruled out. Then also the questioning of the accused has to be done immediately after the arrest. It should not wait for long. So that means that the recovery also can be done immediately so as to avoid false implication. And moreover, the discovery of fact is purported that it should be made in front of 2 respectable witnesses so that there could be no planting of evidence done. So in many cases, we have seen that innocent victims are being punished for no reason. Recently, in a case registered at Chalapudi, a lady who was owning a beauty parlor was found to have discovered around 15 stamps from her bag. In fact, that information was given by some of our enemy. When the stamps were detected, stamps were seized, and it was sent for chemical examination. Immediately on the spot, she was remanded to judicial custody, and she had to be in jail for around 70 days. And when the chemical analysis report came, it was revealed that those stamps did not have any sort of narcotic presence of narcotic psychotropic substance. Now, the investigation team itself has given an application to discharge that particular accused. But were this sort of instances now the investigation is going on as to why this incident happened. So the care has to be taken by the investigating officer as well as others to ensure that the innocent people should not suffer at the hands of their aggressors or their enemies as such. Now, coming to the specific topics with regard to the drug abuse among school children, what happens is that the presence of or the sale of or the discovery of the drugs is so rampant in schools that it is moreover freely available to any school going children, or in the colleges. And though the law is so strict, and although the punishment is so harsh, it is very difficult to have proper detection of the presence of drugs among school children. And the more difficult task is that uh, for registering a crime against a child who is under the age of 18 years, who happens to be juvenile, there are separate provisions as far as taking the criminal proceedings ahead. So in case, many times what happens is that when a child or who is or a child who is under the age of 18 years is arrested, normally the law, like the Juvenile Justice Act, does not really come into action at the forefront. What happens is that they are proceeded against under the NDPS Act. Under the Juvenile Justice Act, there are various protective measures for the children. That is, provisions like reformation and rehabilitation. That is not seen there in this particular enactment. So my suggestion is that as far as registration of crime against juveniles are concerned, we have to have specific provisions, not only as like in the Juvenile Justice Act, but specific provision in the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act as to how these juveniles has to be dealt when they are found in possession of this narcotic drug or psychotropic substances. So in that case, what can happen is that they can be treated separately, they can be rehabilitated, they can be social reformation can be done so that they can become better citizens, because there are reasons why these children go into the habit of taking drugs. So those reasons can be discovered once you start giving counseling or suggestions to these children as such. So these provisions of this act, it's nowhere in the provision of the act now as such we can find as to how these children has to be dealt with. So that is an important aspect which you have to give wide thought, because children of today are citizens of tomorrow. And moreover, since this drug abuse is so rampant among schools, our legislators has to think much wide with a big mind as such to have proper measures, safety and security and regulatory measures, as far as when a child is found consuming or in possession of this narcotic drug or any of these psychotropic substances. And this is the main suggestion which I have which I've proposed as far as this particular legislation is concerned, because I think this is a lacuna in the legislation which is there in the present form, and some amendment can be thought of and can be brought to in both the houses, and on further discussions and modifications, a foolproof law so as far as the child is concerned, so that he is protected and his social counseling can improve him to have a better social adaptation and to become a better citizen as such. Now, let me thank the Global Research Committee Forum for giving me an opportunity to present this paper. And let me thank Snehashree ma'am, and also let me thank Prakash sir, and let me also thank Dr. Krishnawar sir for giving me this opportunity.
Okay, thank you so much, sir.